A furious father suddenly stormed into his daughter's room, and without hesitation, he shot her the moment the gunshot echoed through the house. The mother came running in panic, but before she could even react, a second shot was fired. After murdering both his wife and daughter, the man showed absolutely no regret. He calmly reloaded his gun and walked straight into his son's room. The boy smiled happily after seeing his father, completely unaware that he was next. Within moments, the entire family was dead except for the father himself, but even he no longer wanted to live. Without thinking twice, he pointed the gun at himself. However, the most shocking part was the reason behind everything. The man had been having an illegal relationship with his own daughter, and one day a classmate named John accidentally saw them together. By the very next day, the secret spread through the entire school. Unable to bear the humiliation and public shame, the father believed his life was over, so he destroyed his entire family. But the story didn't end there. His son Jack somehow survived the massacre, and after recovering, he blamed everything on John, swearing that one day he would make him pay. Later one evening, John was walking down the street when he met a beautiful young woman, but he had no idea that meeting her would completely ruin his life. Shortly afterward, John suddenly lost consciousness, and when he finally woke up, he found himself trapped inside a locked room, completely naked. He searched every corner of the room, but there was nobody there except for a drawer containing some night clothes. Instantly, John realized something was terribly wrong. He rushed toward the door, but it was made of solid iron. Only then did he understand that he had been kidnapped. He screamed for help again and again, but no one answered from outside. After that day, he never saw another human face. Meals were simply pushed through a tiny hole beneath the door, and the worst part was that every single day, he received the exact same food: fried dumplings and a bottle of alcohol. After 1 month, John slowly started losing his mind. To numb the pain, he began drinking heavily. The only thing keeping him sane was a television inside the room. But over time, he noticed that strange gas was occasionally released through the ventilation system. Whenever the gas entered the room, he would lose consciousness, and after waking up, he realized someone had secretly taken samples of his hair, saliva, and body. At first, John didn't understand the danger he was in, but one day the television revealed a horrifying truth. His wife had been brutally assaulted and murdered, and the police had declared John himself as the killer. Meanwhile, his young daughter had been sent to an orphanage. Seeing this completely shattered him emotionally. Days turned into years, and John slowly descended into madness. He began hearing strange voices and sometimes felt as if someone was mocking him. Then one day, he found a tiny white mouse inside the room. Over time, the mouse became his only friend, and later it even had babies. John became deeply attached to them and promised himself he would protect them forever. But the very next morning, every mouse had disappeared, and later that day, when his food arrived, John's blood ran cold because the rats had been cooked and served back to him. At that moment, he completely broke down. He smashed the mirror and tried slitting his wrists to end his life, but suddenly the gas filled the room once again. When he woke up, his wounds had already been treated. His hair and beard had been cut off. The mirror was gone, and cameras had been installed everywhere. Privacy no longer existed, and even death was beyond his control. Eventually, 10 entire years passed, and John transformed from a young man into a broken middle-aged prisoner. Then one day, he saw his daughter on television. She had been adopted by another family and had grown into a talented violin player. Seeing her alive and happy suddenly gave John the will to live again. He quit drinking, exercised every single day, and taught himself how to fight by watching television, because now he had only one goal: revenge against the person responsible for destroying his life. Meanwhile, he secretly began digging through the bathroom wall. After years of effort, the wall finally broke open, and after 20 long years, John was finally about to escape from the nightmare. However, just as he was about to leave, he suddenly remembered the letters he had written for his daughter. He turned back to collect them, and at that exact moment, the gas filled the room again. This time, he couldn't escape. A few days later, John opened his eyes inside a wooden box. For the first time in 20 years, sunlight touched his face again. Beside him were stacks of money and all the letters he had written. But what John didn't realize was that the real game had only just begun.